Let's bring in former New York State Homeland Security Advisor Michael Balboni. Mr. Balboni, thanks for joining us this afternoon. You know, the White House complex really does seem to draw this type of thing. How does the U.S. Secret Service combat that?
Secret Service has developed a 360-degree, multiple layers of defense, where obviously you have the physical protection of the White House itself, and then you have numerous cameras and surveillance. You have great intelligence, which is what this case, by the way, showed, that you had information that this individual was going to be in the area possibly, and they had additional information. That's the most important element in trying to prevent something, as opposed to just responding to it. But, you know, this fits into a larger piece. Obviously, the two attempted assassinations of the president, these have raised huge issues as to what the Secret Service knew beforehand, before the events, and how the individuals were able to get into the positions, whether in Butler, Pennsylvania, or in Florida itself. Obviously, the case with the Florida shooter is going to be going to court. There's a bunch of legal proceedings going on right now. But again, raising big questions as to how someone could be lying in wait for 12 hours outside of a golf course. So it raises all sorts of issues, especially when you have somebody as high profile and in many circles as controversial as President Trump.
There have been leadership changes. There have been recommendations on how Secret Service should change the way it operates. Do you think that that's been enough? You think Secret Service is back on track here?
What I always wanted to see was the Congress did a very in-depth hearing and investigation in this, and I wasn't really so satisfied as to what really happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. And so I think that President Trump has said he really wants to get to the bottom of both of those incidents, and he's going to continue to look very strong in those issues and direct all his agencies to share information, which is really important, re-examine the training that people get, and also a lot of the issues. Remember what Secret Service does. They work with local law enforcement when the president is traveling. So what type of relationships do they have? It's absolutely crucial. When I was the Homeland Security Advisor here in New York City, when the Pope came to visit, when we had national security events, working with the Secret Service was absolutely essential. But again, has that changed? Could it get better? These are all the questions that need to be done right now, especially given the Trump presidency.
And the Trump administration also, and speaking of your city, is canceling $400 million in grants to Columbia University because of these ongoing protests that we've seen. What do you make of what's going on at Columbia, and do you think that there's going to be any changes from the university given what the administration's doing?
So currently, the Department of Justice and the Department of State are examining what has gone on the campuses. First of all, let's be clear. Anti-Semitic behavior, any other group behavior on campus should never be allowed if it involves any type of violence itself. And so, what you have here, obviously, you have that fine line between the ability to protest and then the safety of other students. And so the Department of Justice is taking this very seriously. In fact, the Department of State has announced today that they're revoking visas for several of the students that have been pro-Hamas supporters who have committed violent acts. See, that